Let's shift our focus now. The second day of the NATO informal meeting of foreign ministers will get underway in Oslo in a few hours. And later today, NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg will be giving a joint statement with the US Secretary of State Antony Blinken.
Yes, that will be a key statement to watch out for. Blinken earlier met with the Norwegian Prime Minister. Listen in.
Secretary Blinken, I welcome you to Oslo. You are here at an important informal NATO meeting, but informal can be even more important than formal because it is about critical issues. How we will support Ukraine being attacked in a brutal aggression, which is really the most serious security policy situation we have dealt with in recent years and in modern times.
Now, according to the US State Department, Blinken's trip is largely focused on discussing with allies how to build Ukraine's defense and deterrence capabilities.
We are partners in trying to find peace in areas of conflict. That remains vitally important. And again, here in Europe, the solidarity that we have shown with other European partners in defense of Ukraine and against the Russian aggression, I think has been absolutely remarkable.
Meanwhile, talking about Sweden joining the treaty, Norway's foreign minister said it must happen before the July summit set to be held in Lithuania.
I have raised it several times when I had a meeting with the Turkish foreign minister. He can unfortunately not come to this meeting because there is going to be an opening session of the Turkish parliament on Thursday. But I have raised this several times. And Sweden fulfills all the criteria. So there is absolutely no reason for holding Sweden back.
Back in Washington, President Joe Biden has approved a new package of military aid for Ukraine that totals up to $300 million. It includes additional munitions for drones and an array of other weapons.
We will use that package that we're announcing today to provide Ukraine with additional munitions for Patriot air defense systems, which Ukraine has been deploying quite effectively, as well as more Avenger air defense systems, Stinger anti-aircraft systems, and ammunition, of course, for the HIMARS, artillery, and anti-armor systems that the United States continues to provide to Ukraine.
This comes in the light of French President Emmanuel Macron, who is on a visit to Slovakia, urging NATO to provide tangible security guarantees for Ukraine. He also spoke about the possibility of peace in the coming months.
Today, we need to help Ukraine by all means to lead an effective counteroffensive. This is essential. This is what we are doing. We must intensify it, because what is at stake in the coming months is the very possibility of a chosen and therefore lasting peace.
However, the French president expressed doubts about whether there will be consensus on Ukraine joining NATO. And our principal diplomatic correspondent Siddhant Sibal is in Oslo in Norway, where that meeting is taking place. He spoke to us on the key takeaways from day one of this NATO meeting.
Day one of the NATO informal foreign ministers meeting was all about diplomatic niceties and protocols. We know that several of the foreign ministers reached Oslo, including the US Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who is on a larger Nordic visit. But essentially, the conversation was around, of course, the statements made by several foreign ministers, including the host foreign minister, that's the Norwegian foreign minister, over, of course, Russia-Ukraine conflict that continues to dominate the agenda here in Oslo. We know that since the conflict started, the European security architecture has significantly and overwhelmingly changed, and this is something that is part of a larger ongoing discussion, and the NATO foreign ministers will be putting up a brave face and a united face even as the conflict rages on for over 1 year. In fact, the Norwegian foreign minister, speaking exclusively to WION, said that when it comes to Ukrainian membership of NATO, this is something that should happen, and when it comes to Sweden's membership, that is something that should also happen as soon as possible. So a lot of comments, but essentially focus is on the second day, where the conversation will be taking place very soon.
And that being said, Siddhant also tells us what we can expect from day 2 of this NATO meeting. Let's listen in.
Well, day 2 of the NATO informal foreign ministers meeting will be essentially the D-Day, where we will see the NATO SG and also the US Secretary of State Blinken speaking and addressing the gathering. But essentially, when it comes to the conversation, the key focus remains the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict. This has seen major escalations, including drone attacks in Russian territories and retaliatory strike by Moscow in Ukraine, and it looks like it's widening up. The conflict is widening up in the region. Also, focus remains on Kosovo, on Sweden's membership, a membership that has seen backing by almost every member of the NATO grouping, barring, of course, Turkey and Hungary. We know that there has been a re-election of Erdogan in Turkey, and several Western capitals will be pressing on him so that he changes his stance. Also, focus remains on China situation in the Indo-Pacific, how China has been aggressive in the region. And we know that when it comes to NATO's position, there has been a major shift and evolution in NATO's position regarding how China behaves and acts in the region and its repercussions across the world. So all in all, whatever happens in Oslo today will feed into the larger summit that happens in Lithuania in a few weeks from now.